So guys, Arsenal versus Brighton match preview. Premier League match day 17 is one we are talking about, and this is Rokani David all RD to bring you these stories. And if at all you know that this game last season ended in favor of Brighton at the Emirates 3-0. That's what Arsenal went ahead to concede at the Emirates. But when you look at the two sides, Brighton is a little bit a depleted side than Arsenal. Arsenal have gone ahead to obviously add more players to their squad. David Raya, Kai Havertz, Declan Rice, and Julian Timber, right? Brighton has gone ahead to add in Ansu Fati, who is really injured enough of this game. They've added Maleba, there is Yao Pedro, I think there is Prob, Mahoud, understand? But they've not gone ahead to obviously hit that level like they were at last season, because last season Brighton had McAllister, they had Moise Caicedo, and trust me, that was the engine of this team of Brighton. That is it. It was the engine of Brighton, and they've gone ahead obviously look a little bit weakened. And in their last Premier League game they played at home, it ended 1-1, and it required them to score a goal in the 77th minute. The side of Burnley went ahead to obviously score through Wilson Odebat, and it was Simon Adingra, that exciting young lad who came in through and obviously leveled the game, and the game ended 1-1. And for Arsenal, they played away at Villa Park, and they lost by 1-0 in a game where they went ahead to obviously dominate that game fully. They went ahead to dominate that game fully, and you can all admit with me that Arsenal were the better side. The Premier League table, Arsenal is second, 16 games, 36 points, and Brighton is 16th with 26 points. Sorry, they're 8th with 26 points on the Premier League table. So it shows you that there is a huge difference in points. 26, 36, there is a point difference of 10. And Brighton are really coming into this game with lots and lots of players missing out in action. When you look at their injury list of Brighton, they really have very, very many players out, right? And these players are really very important. One of those, Danny Welbeck, formerly at Arsenal, he's really out, and he's not going to be part of this fixture. Then Ansu Fati is having a thigh injury, so he's another one that Arsenal are obviously going to obviously not see them, face them. Pervis Estupian is having a thigh injury, one of my best left backs in the league. Then Tariq Lamptey, he was linked at Arsenal when he was really playing for Brighton, and Arsenal went ahead to bring in Ben White instead of him because Ben White was really a multi-dimensional player. He's having a thigh injury. Julio Enciso, knee injury. Solly Match is having a knee injury, and all those are really into the sick bay or the treatment room. But Adam Webster is expected to return, and Joel Veltman, Adam Lallana, Evan Ferguson are going to be utilized as obviously take on the side of Arsenal. When you go to the Arsenal side, Thomas Partey is out, Fabio Vieira is out, Takahiro Tomiyasu is out, and Julian Timber is also out. So those are the injuries of Arsenal. Gabriel Martinez is going to hate to return. Emily Smith-Rowe, who obviously got some minutes in the game of PSV, is back, and we anticipate that he's going to be part of this Arsenal side that is going to be playing against the side of Brighton in there for you. Mohamed El Nini, the manager has confirmed to us this evening that he's really great and doing great, meaning that he is going to be available for this fixture at the Emirates. So, Rokani David is my name. Had I even introduced myself? Rokani David is my name. Rokani Media Football is the YouTube channel. The game of football is going to be played at the Emirates that capacitates 60,704. It's 6,704 people. That's what this team really capacitates, and we wait and see how that is obviously going to pan out at the stadium of the Emirates. And when you look at this game, you are going to obviously look at teams that play at the front foot. Brighton, they don't respect any team. They play at the front foot. Let it be who for them. they never down tools. They obviously don't play a low block and they play the front foot. I think this side of Arsenal is going to enjoy playing against Brighton. That is it. And if Brighton don't obviously find themselves closing down that central defense very well, they might really find themselves really swallowing a lot of goals from Arsenal, according to me, because Arsenal has a very good developing midfield. Bringing in two central midfielders in Kai Havertz and Declan Rice to come in through and obviously start a season, and they're not going to hate to click up. It's really costly, but it looks like in the recent games that midfield three is going in the right direction. The cohesion of the chemistry is forming up. So Brighton needs to obviously find themselves in a better position to obviously stop that side of Arsenal. And let's obviously go to the predicted starting 11 of Arsenal and see how they will stand. I'll also later tell you what I think Brighton is going to look like on the day. But Brighton in the midweek, that is yesterday, they went ahead to play in the UEFA Europa League and beat Marseille by 1-0. And it shows you that they've gone ahead to use a lot of energy in the previous games, because they scored the equalizer against Burnley in the 77th minute, meaning they used a lot of energy. And yesterday they scored around the 90th minute, So they've gone ahead to use a lot of energy. They've played on Thursday. Arsenal played on Tuesday, meaning that Arsenal is resting on is resting Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 4 days of rest, And for Brighton, they're only resting Friday, Saturday, and on Sunday, they're obviously going to come in through and travel to London. It's really going to be a hard one. So the formation that I anticipate Arteta is obviously going to bring it through, it's a 4-3-3, and we expect some huge changes from the team that started in PSV. Remember, in that game that really started, Arteta went ahead to make close to 7 changes. Benny White never started. Declan Rice never started. Odegaard never started. Saka never started. Jesus never started. And Martinelli never even traveled with the team. Now, we anticipate more 6, 7, 8 changes to be made by the side of Arsenal into the team. Even by the way, David Raya never started. I had forgotten to obviously talk about him. Now, in goal, we expect David Raya to return. That's a must. First choice goalkeeper for Arsenal, and is going to be in between the stitches as Arsenal takes on the side of Brighton. And that is really great for that side of Brighton, and where they're obviously going ahead to go on and really do the needful for that side of Arsenal. So to me, I don't really, by the way, guys, this season, I believe that if at all Arsenal go ahead to all of this miss out on the trophy, every Arsenal fan is going to be pointing at Mikel Arteta for the decision he made for the goalkeeper, that is David Raya, because he has costed them some games, and I believe in some crucial moments he will act as a culprit, to stop us. Like Sol Campbell really said, that if Arteta doesn't sort this out early enough, he's obviously going to find himself in a very bad situation. So David Raya comes in between the stitches to replace Aaron Ramsdale, who played in the last game of the Champions League group stages against PSV. Right back, it was Cedric Soares who started when Arsenal was playing against PSV. I think Benjamin White is getting back his spot to obviously play on the right back position, to obviously face off with Mitoma. Then the left back, Zinchenko, coming in through to replace Jakub Kivio, who went ahead to play 90 minutes into that game. Central defense, I think it's going to stay the same. Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes went ahead to obviously start into that central defense, and they really did a lot of things together. That is it, coming in through from William Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes. They're going to start into that central defense. Then in the midfield, I anticipate Declan Rice to obviously get back in the starting position, because he was rested for like 60 minutes. That was really something great for the club of Arsenal, because Declan Rice almost has been playing every game for Arsenal, but this time around he hasn't gone ahead to obviously get started. He came off the bench and really had some 20-30 minutes to play into that game. So I anticipate that Odegaard is going to be in the mix, and then Kai Havertz is obviously going to be in the mix, because looks like the manager has gone ahead to see to it that these three are obviously developing in as far as their chemistry development is concerned. Now, the front three, Bukayo Saka traveled with Arsenal to PSV, that is in Eindhoven in Netherlands. He was one of the unused substitutes, and I think Saka is going to play as a right forward for the side of Arsenal. Then the left forward, Gabriel Martinelli, was left in London. He had some little bit of a Nico, but I think he's obviously going to start as a left forward for the side of Arsenal. And Edin Nketiah started ahead of Jesus, and he went ahead to score a very beautiful goal. But I think Gabriel Jesus is going to come in through and obviously lead the line for the club of Arsenal. So that is my starting 11 for the side of Arsenal. That is it. I don't know what your thoughts are about it. Who do you put and who do you take out? But to me, I prefer that starting 11 to come in through and really play a very big, beautiful part into the side of Arsenal. And let's go to some head-to-head stats coming in from Google that you guys need to know. Arsenal have lost their last 3 home games against Brighton in all competitions. Only against Manchester City. 7 between 2008, 2003 have they lost more consecutively at the Emirates Stadium. Now, talking about the loss of Arsenal, Arsenal, the first loss they really got at Emirates against Brighton was in the season of 2021-2022. I think that game ended by 2-1. Then Arsenal went ahead to lose to Brighton in the Carabao Cup last year. And then this year, they went ahead to obviously lose by 3-0 at the Emirates. Those are the 3 times they've gone ahead to obviously lose. But I think all of those times, Arsenal were their weakest. But this time round, Brighton is facing Arsenal when Arsenal is at its strength, is at its best. Secondly, Brighton have won 4 of their 7 away games against Arsenal at the Emirates. It's the highest rate, 57% of any visiting English side at the ground since it opened in 2006. So Brighton look like they've gone ahead to have some good moments against Arsenal, but you would ask yourself, will they really raise up to the occasion? Because they are really having a depleted side. I remember those days they had Yefis Besuma, then they brought in Caicedo, McAllister, and very many others. So we wait and see how these players are obviously going to come in through and really do the needful. Thirdly, the home side has won just 2 of the last 10 Premier League meetings between Arsenal and Brighton, with the Seagulls winning 2-1 at Amex Stadium in June 2022 and Arsenal winning 2-0 at the Emirates in May 2021. So it obviously shows you that it's a roller coaster, and I can really guarantee you that it's going to be one of those best games to watch before you go into that game of Liverpool and Manchester United. Fourthly, since losing 3-0 to Brighton in May, Arsenal are unbeaten in 12 home games in all competitions, 10 wins and 2 draws, scoring at least in 11 of those matches. So Arsenal is unbeaten ever since they lost to Brighton towards the end of the season. Fifthly, Brighton have scored in their last 32 Premier League games and conceded in each of their last 20. It's their longest ever scoring stretch in their league history, while it's their joint longest run without a clean sheet. Also 20 games between September 1974 and March 1948. That is it coming in through from Brighton. And I would like to let you know that those stats matter a lot. That's why obviously coming through and obviously bring them to you. But my prediction, 3-1 in favor of Arsenal. That's my prediction. I think at Emirates, it's very hard for a team to come there and obviously take all points from Arsenal. Brighton is really at its weakest, and I think the rebuild is going in the right direction, but they are facing one of the best teams in the league, and Arsenal has every stone to throw, or every weapon to throw at they have every weapon to throw at this team of Brighton, and I don't know whether Brighton really has an Arsenal that can obviously withstand the attacks of Arsenal. So my prediction is 3-1 in favor of Arsenal. And the player battles, Mitoma versus Ben White. Mitoma hasn't really gone ahead to have a very beautiful season, though he has gone ahead to score some good goals this season, but he's not yet back to the Mitoma. The player that I think is obviously going to really cause them a lot of damage for me is João Pedro. João Pedro is going to face Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes, and he's really a very calm guy on the ball. So we anticipate that. Lallana Adam coming in through and obviously putting in a very huge, beautiful performance is really one of those that you obviously look at, but it obviously shows you that all those Brighton players are not yet back to where we expect them to be. So they are not like the Brighton they were last season, Pascal Gross is really injured, and how are they going to come in through to obviously use Andingra, to face Zinchenko? The midfield, Mahoud, is it Mahoud, and is it Baleba to face Declan Rice, Kai Havertz, and Martin Odegaard? It's really, 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 really unmatched. That is it. So it wasn't like how it was last season, but all I can tell you is that those battles are really going to be very interesting for us. We are going to watch that game of football. And Brighton know it, that if at all they lose, then Arsenal will be 13 points ahead of them, But I think for them, all what they need is to go back to Europe. That is it. UEFA Europa League might be their target, and maybe if at all they win the UEFA Europa League, they might find themselves playing the Champions League next season, because a team that wins the UEFA Europa League qualifies to the Champions League slot of 2024-2025. So my prediction is 3-1, but De Zerbi is a man that is full of surprises. You never know what he's going to bring in at Arsenal, and you never know what Arteta is going to bring up, but Arteta really has a very beautiful squad. I really told you about the predicted starting 11 of Brighton. Verbruggen in goal, Veltman and Dunk into the central defense, Van Hecke, and Milner. That is the back four. Baleba, Gross, and Dingra. That is the midfield three. Lallana, Mitoma, and Ferguson expected to play as the front three. So they're really having very many injuries, but it's not something to give us an excuse, because that you start a season expecting all those injuries to come to you. So that's what I had for you here onto the Rokani Media Football. Tell me your thoughts about Arsenal versus Brighton, the match preview. And what are your predictions in the comment section below? And what do you agree with me or disagree with me as far as this game of football is really concerned? I sign out for now. See you later, and I cover you all in the precious blood of Jesus Christ. This is the third video of the day. Don't so? We are left with 2 more coming, and we are going to serve you as you guys want. Bye-bye.